Okay. So, hi, Sinatra, everybody. So here you go, big risk off. Just a review of some of the calls I made this week, earlier in the week. It was my call that we were going to take out the double top at 93.19 in the Dixie and head up towards 93.5. The high is 93.50. Pretty accurate. I'm not saying that it can't push another time, but this is what I thought could happen. Hello, Hugo, Jatine, regarding the yen. When we were down here, I said look for a rally to 110, 110.20, achieved and now selling off. Euro, we talked about, Blake talked about it too, the 1.618, I think was 116.50. This could have been enough. Nice divergence, but just like we could get another push up in the Dixie, we could maybe get one more. I don't think we're going to get another push up in, I think this is a failing rally in yen, and now we're heading towards the 107.60 level. Oh, thanks, Ben. I missed this. I thought we were going to pull back, but you know, so many breakdowns everywhere. Nice hold, Gregor Horvat, short on a pattern and play. Both Blake caught it and Gregor stayed with it for an extra 60 pips or so. Euro pound continues its advance after, something I talked about earlier in the week, after we negated the throw over and then pulled back. And here we go, making euro the preferred long, cable the preferred short, depending upon your view on the dollar. Gold, again, it's stalled up here. Silver being much weaker. Silver, I'm not sure we're done yet to the downside. Gold still the preferred long, as you could tell by this. Another breakdown, crude broke down out of this descending triangle. So I talked about, you could be long with a reverse out stop, which would leave you short. And copper is just really completely collapsing after the breakdown. It's taking out the 200-day right here. S&P is hanging on by a thread, taking out this important level. I believe Blake had this level and had confluence here on not just a support zone, but also a wedge line. So when we see Blake's charts, we'll probably see a breakdown out of that rising wedge. NASDAQ took out the 14,920 level yesterday, pretty negative. We have weekly reversals in both of them. Said do not sell volatility, and this is why. I said do not sell volatility. Huge day in the VIX yesterday. So I hope that some of these calls have helped you out. Anyone catch any of the stuff that I talked about just now? Or help you avoid doing the opposite? Well, all I could do is hope. Jatin caught the VIX. All right, congratulations. Are you a subscriber? Hey, Hugo. Okay. Then I can't pitch you. Tim, with the money is saved, avoiding being long QQQ, you could sign up here. Are you Tim Fury? If you notice, I did an interview with Helene Meisler, and on TV, there's a commercial where it could be a sporting event or something else going on, and this person that wasn't part of the scene shows up and says, "Oh, I just invest in QQQ." It reminded me of a Barron's cover where they started really promoting being long QQQ is fashionable because then you own the future. So good avoid on that. So I'm going to bring the team in now. We have Mark Newton. Very good day to have Mark. He's an excellent technician. Hope he shows up. And, if you've caught him here or on CNBC, we'll see if he confirms some of the things I'm talking about. Good morning, Stelio. How are you? How are you
Good
doing
morning,
today,
Coach. Morning,
hey,
everybody.
hey, buddy. So why cable so much weaker than euro? Do you know?
Uh, Good question. I mean, the dollar is stronger overall. Why is the pound underperforming? I actually don't know.
Okay,
But I mean, there wasn't
that's
anything.
a legit answer.
Yeah, but we had the FOMC minutes yesterday,
Yeah,
and it was effectively the majority of the Fed members agreed that there's going to need to be tapering. So this is in line with what the market expects. The question obviously is what kind of tapering, to what extent, what pace, etc. But at the moment, markets are prepared for this later this year. And that's how it is. So the dollar is strengthening. It's trying to break this 117 in the euro dollar, which we've been talking about for a while. It broke it earlier this morning. Yeah, but it's coming back again. I think we need to wait for the US to US is coming in now and they're starting to trade. So let's see how they push things around. But commodity currencies are not doing well. I'm sure Blake is happy about the dollar Norway going higher, and we're all waiting for next week. So we've said this for the last 10 days. Yeah, we wait for Jackson Hole. Unfortunately, this is the way.
That was you mentioned Norway. That was a huge overnight trade. Because I was sized up last night, so I was I woke up this morning like, wow,
nice.
Yeah, really nice. Yeah, it was pretty good. Hey, you guys, Dale, you just asked Stelios why the sterling is down so much. Well, I mean, I've got a couple answers for you. Now, first of all, I agree with you. Not the right answer, or not knowing is also a good answer, because I mean, you can say, well, I'm not really too sure, right? You don't know. You don't know.
With not knowing. Yeah.
But I will tell you this, that you even with the guys that I traded with for years at Gallos, we always were like, okay, here's some risk off. Let's lean on the sterling a little bit more. The volatility tends to run higher in the sterling. So during periods of risk off, the pound tends to underperform. So in other words, when you get like a risk off move, let me just show you something really quick. I'll take you over. I want to show you just a couple of charts regarding that. And then actually I've got a few charts I need to show you.
And, Stel was talking about, everyone's talking about the taper. I don't know about you guys, but a year and a half after this pandemic started, I need my clothes let out, not tapered.
That's fun. Oh, you're not even a dad. That's the sad thing. Speaking of being a dad, my oldest son turns 17 today, and I'm
happy birthday.
Yeah, I'm really unsure where that all came from, but man, it's crazy. Anyway, you're gonna
let him enlist in the Marines next year?
Hell no. He knows he never ever go in the Marines. If he actually ever joined the military, I told him Air Force or Navy, but preferably Air Force, because the chow is much better and there's actually women in there. In the Air Force that are not bad looking. It's
good advice.
Thanks. Pound, that's where we, us Marines, would always go scavenge the Air Force bases looking for the women at
dogs
at country night at the clubs. All right. Anyway, here's the sterling, but the pound Aussie is always a good risk off type of trade. So whenever you get risk off, you go long, pound Aussie. But look at the difference between the pound Aussie and then the euro Aussie. And the euro Aussie, we're looking for a breakout. That's what that arrow is doing there. But the euro Aussie actually acts a little bit better. Then you go over to the euro sterling. The euro sterling, we all knew it was squeezing out of this this wedge. We had a false breakdown here. So there was a lot of things that were leading us to believe that the equity markets were going to sell off the way that they're selling off right now. And I want to take you over to a couple of things. You guys may not be Forex Analytics subscribers. That's fine. Okay. You probably go to the blog, which is free every day, right? And you get the chart of the day, dollar Mexican peso. Well, if the dollar Mexican peso, I'm sitting there saying, hey, we're probably going to go back to range highs and challenge the 200-day moving average because the S&P is down. Well, that is, suggesting that the dollar Mexican peso is going to go back to range highs, that I think it's going to go back to range highs. And the only reason why that's going to happen is because we're going to see some risk off. So now that we're here and the S&P is where it's at, now the question you're asking yourself is, what do you do here? What do you actually get short now because the S&P has broken below trendline support? So I want to ask you guys this, those of you that are not Forex Analytics subscribers, because you guys are already Forex Analytics subscribers, you already know the answer to this question. Should you be shorting S&P right now? What do you guys think?
I'd look for a bounce.
Stelios? Sorry.
Me, if it wasn't for Jackson Hole coming up and yields being this low still, I would be shorting it, but I wouldn't now. No.
Sorry, I'm just getting a drink of water. I was going to answer my own question here, but
yeah, why not? It's not late. It's a breakdown.
Okay.
Just starting.
You want to see, this is how pivotal this area is. Look at the hourly. Yeah. This is a 4-hour chart. Okay. And here's support. Here's support. Here's resistance. Overnight in Europe, we hit that level. So if you're going to start a short right now, your risk. Like you notice, I just set up 2 alarms on my charts. Also, FYI, I closed out my here's the Forex Analytics chat room. I trade a lot. And having this trades room is actually quite nice because I can go here and say yesterday, long dollar Mexican peso, long US dollar Norwegian krona. Closed all US dollar longs about less than an hour ago. Okay. I took half off and then I'm like, you know what? I want out. I want out of everything. Now you're probably like, well, what, Blake, why'd you get out of everything? Well, if you look at the daily chart of the S&P and you look at this trend line here, this is obviously where we're probing it, right? By the end of the day, it's going to tell us a lot. By the end of the day, I'm going to know whether my actions were a good action or a bad action. But being profitable the way I was overnight, I had to book profits. It's summertime, too big of a position for me not to book profits. If you look at this trend line, we have been below it before. Now, you might say, well, Blake, you adjust the trend line. You can adjust the trend line all over the place. But let's look at, this is a 4-hour chart, and you're going back from October 2020, right?
Mm-hmm. That's where it's going.
Low. Shit, I didn't mean it. Every time you move it, it'll do that again. Low, touch, breach. Breach. Okay. So if you didn't have the foresight to be short equities over the last 2 days, or did not, play it on the, play the dollar on the long side, or, take some sort of equivalent trade to that over the last couple of sessions, if you hadn't been doing that over the last couple of sessions or buying the yen or, doing trades like that, then to start a position right now, you have to know where your risk is. And I believe at this point in time, if you get back above 43.80, 43.85, you're going to find yourself on the wrong side of of the market pretty quick today. This is the middle of August. There is zero liquidity. So just be really careful today. As I just mentioned, I know exactly where the market's going to break today. You get above here or you get below there, and this is going to tell you if you're offsides. What happened in Europe right here told us the story. So you can right now, if you really want to get in the market because you don't have any, don't have any ability of controlling yourself and taking trades, sure, go ahead. You got to know where your risk is. And that's the bottom line with any trading you do. That's the first question I ask myself when I'm getting into a trade. Where's my risk? So if you short right now, then you should know that, we get back above like this 43.85, maybe even this previous hourly low. That's where your risk is. You get above here and you probably don't want to be short anymore, right? And the flip side is if you're like, well, screw this, Blake, it's summer. This market's not going anywhere. I just had somebody in our chat room just a moment ago, Julius, which I'm not gonna point out, but he said, I think we're oversold here. We're going back to 4,500 before it's all said and done. Look, that's what makes a market. So if that's your take and you're like, I'm bullish here, I'm going to play this false breakdown. I'm going to get long because all these suckers are shorting into these lows right here, which could very well be the case. Then where's your risk? My opinion is your risk is below these lows, right? So I think right now is a little dicey to be trading, to be honest. I think above these highs or below these lows will tell a lot about what's going to happen today. I hate to be chasing the market on August 19th when half of the world is on vacation. So, but at the same time, I have to admit that the market looks pretty shaky here and it looks pretty scary. So, I've played the short side of this market basically in the FX equivalent being long yen and long dollars over the last 3 days. Now that we're here, I closed up everything and I don't want to, I have zero exposure right now. So
that's smart.
Well, yeah. And I don't know about you guys, but over the last couple of years, minus the COVID lockdown crap, but over the last 2-3 years, I've had on many occasions shorted into this type of situation, had the market right up in my face. We've been in some very bullish trends over the last several years. So, it's, to get caught down here, you may win, you may not. I don't know. I'm going to see what the market, I'm going to let the market show its hand from here because it was an easy play the last couple of days. And, we've had a lot of confirming moves. We've had copper down. We've had crude break down. We've had yields break lower. We've had precious metals reject 1,800 and gold, silver at $24. A lot of things have led to where we're at right now, but where we're at right now, it's not an easy answer, I don't think. So anyway, just my 2 cents. So
the times they are a changing. Bob Dylan.
DJ, hey, you know what? DJ said the market sell-off is not just restricted in North America either. You're right. You're 100% correct. That is a true statement. Matter of fact, if you read, let's go over back to the. By the way, this is the crude breakdown from yesterday at 65. That was that's one of those Just take a look at crude really quick. This is what led me to short the Norwegian krona, by the way. Let me just show you what Norway looks like and why I covered it up today. Right?
Butterfly.
That's a Gartley. So if you
Gartley butterfly.
Yeah, if you use Forex Analytics, you got that analysis about an hour ago that we reached the Gartley top. We were looking to target that since August 17th, that was 2 days ago. Then the US dollar Norwegian krona broke the descending trend line and a move to 9.02 level to complete the Gartley looks possible. That was on the 17th of August. Today, 2 days later, it's complete. So now that we're here, you know, you probably don't want to be long anymore, right? Now, what led me to do that is if you look at crude oil and crude breakdown of the wedge, at minimum, the 61 level, however, the intraday RSI hits oversold, blah, blah, blah. The last update is valid and below the 66 level. We would target the 200-day moving average, which comes in right there. Now, the problem with all this, with crude, is we've reached 63, which was my original target. We've already hit that, but I extended that out to 61.50 to get towards the 200-day moving average. But the thing is, I might have been a little bit too aggressive here because that 63 would have completed everything. But we're a little oversold, and you know, I think you have to sell crude on rallies now. So, you know, if you can get a sell off somewhere around 64.25, I think that's more doable. And so if you put all this together, you go, oh, well, if crude rallies back, copper rallies back. Let's look at copper really quick.
Good call on copper.
Well, I mean, the thing is here we are probing the 200-day moving average. If you are short these assets, right? And I didn't make a call on copper, Dale. That wasn't me. So I don't. It might have been somebody else, probably Steve or maybe Stelios. I don't. Stelios, or have you been talking about copper? I haven't. So,
Nope. No,
okay.
not me.
So no, it wasn't me. Anyway, but look at here. Okay, and matter of fact, this not even close to being done yet, right? But that's where copper should go theoretically, based on this head and shoulder pattern. That's where it should go. But look, we're probing the 200-day moving average. In my opinion, copper looks like it's going to do this. So if we bounce from here, crude bounces from here, you can see crude's near its highs of this, you know, session. It's getting towards the highs in Europe. You know, we see a move like that in copper. We see crude oil bounce. What do you think is going to happen in S&Ps? Well, the S&Ps are probably going to go, hey, I suckered you all in. You know, I suckered all you shorts in, and then, you know, rip up. And I don't know, man, every day you get that lunchtime rally, you know, gap up at the open, then, you know, catches everybody short. It happened just 2 days ago, right? The market was, everybody's getting all bearish on this breakdown. And then we gapped up at the open, then lunchtime we rallied. And then by the end of the day, we just kind of, you know, petered out. But this is the price action from 2 days ago on the 17th intraday in North America. What's to say we can't do that again here and just kind of squeeze back up towards 4,400? So I don't know. I get a little nervous here, and then you get everybody saying, "Oh, that was a false breakdown." The next thing you know, we're trading back at 44.50 by Friday because the markets always rally on Fridays for whatever freaking reason, you know. So all I have to say is be careful down here. What are you going to do, Stel?
I'm going to do very little ahead of next week. So yeah, that's my view. You know, we've seen this play out so many times. And like I said before, yields are still low. I see no reason why anything should change yet. But obviously next weekend could be the big trigger. Couple of other things I wanted to mention before we hand it over to Dale. We had
that you were going to mention. Were you going to mention something that Mark Chandler mentioned today in his Traders Summit post?
No, I just said that I posted on the chat. I thought it's a really great summary every day that he writes. I mean, really, really great. Even if you just read the highlights, the bullet points at the top that he has. People who are based in the States, you wake up, you click on his latest post, bang, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, you know what's happened. It's a really great. I really, really like Mark Chandler. But no, I wasn't going to mention anything more about that. I was just going to say that we had the Norges Bank interest rate decision today. They didn't hike rates. They weren't expected to, but they are guiding us that they're going to be hiking later this year and once every quarter next year. And we know that Norges Bank is not a slow-moving central bank. They are not like others. They do tend to act relatively quickly if they think that action is needed. So I do take them for their word, and I would love Euro Norway, Dollar Norway to just spike a little bit more so I can sell into them. And we also had Australian employment data, and unemployment rates dropped, so employment was better than expected. But
by the way, Stelios, regarding that, you know that that happened, that number happened right here. And I saw so many people getting long the Aussie dollar last night in Asia. I was like, oh, you guys are gonna really hurt after that one. Yeah, I was gonna tweet about it, and I was just like, oh God, I was preparing for my son's birthday today, so yeah, everybody got sucked in the market right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good number, but when the dollar is rallying overall across the board, there's no chance that this is going higher.
You have to sell into that strength anyway.
Yeah, exactly, it's an opportunity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, one of the things that I want to mention today regarding the euro, and this is why you read, like you go on a Trader Summit, read some of these updates here. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to click on his actual his article. This is one of the key takeaways. If you didn't read this today or you don't know this today, here we go. Let me find it. Right here. There are 2.5 billion euros options expiring today. 2.5 billion on a summer August weekday. Okay. That is going to keep us at 117 probably for the next couple hours. So if you're wondering why, the euro had drifted back to 117 overnight, that's it. And if you guys are, long, you better keep that in mind too, because once those options expire this morning, then the euro will be free to move around the cabin.
Was the low in the euro at your fib extension number, Blake? That you talked about yesterday?
The 161% extension. It's just shy of it, which doesn't surprise me that we get just real close to those levels. Yeah, I wouldn't be short. And you don't want to be short euros in a risk-off environment either, because the euro is going to outperform as a, funding currency. It's going to outperform in a risk-off environment. It doesn't mean that it won't go down. It's just going to go down less. DJ had pointed out about North American markets are not the only markets. You're right. The DAX, we knew it was going to break down yesterday. So, the DAX is obviously in a wedge, just like the S&P. But, if you should know that, crap, I didn't want to do that. Sorry, I just launched something that I didn't want to. This is last night, with the sell-off in the US markets, you had to know that we're going to break this 15,800 level in the DAX. That was like a given. This was yesterday. You could have sold DAX futures that hadn't moved anywhere, But when you saw that sell off in the US equity markets, you knew we were going to just plunge through that support.
By the way, we just got data which was in line, so don't worry about it.
Okay, thanks. And so anyway, I wanted to just, since DJ was mentioning about the not the U.S. markets not being the only markets that we need to pay attention to, 100% agree with that. And you know, even like the Nikkei and stuff, you have to just watch these markets because they are all coiling. But I'm going to warn you all again. Just remember, we are at a very, very tricky area in the S&P. We've probed this trend line support before. We've failed to break down. I'm not saying that that's going to happen today, but just be really careful, especially as Stelios pointed out, it is Jackson Hole coming up next week. So just keep that in mind. All right, Dale, I know you have Mr. Mark Newton coming on. He's always great to listen to. You guys should stick around. He's a real treat because, you know, when you hear Mark on, you know, CNBC or Bloomy, you know, you only get him for, you know, a minute, 30 seconds, whatever his piece might be. Here, you guys get him for a good half an hour. So, so Dale, have fun with Mark, and I'm glad to have him here.
I don't think he's here.
Oh crap!
After all that
like
introduction,
Steve.
that was amazing.
Anyway, I'd like
Well,
to see
hey,
him
you
on
got
CNBC
Steve
today.
Boogie.
Steve?
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
No, what? So
buddy.
Mark's
How
not
are you?
here?
No.
Oh,
Yeah, this
Yeah.
first time he's missed.
I know. He's like one of those most punctual people. He's like, what?
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing.
Mark Newton, calling Mark Newton. Raise your hand if you're here. I sent the messages on Twitter too. So no
Wow,
response.
that's kind
You
of.
know what?
have a
You
look.
know what, Blake? This is
Mark
why
has never
sometimes-
not showed up. Let's put it that
This
way.
is why sometimes I you know, have a Friday open. I'll try and catch him sometime today and get him to drop in tomorrow, because this is a pretty important week. In the
That's pretty
market.
astonishing. We do have, though, 6 marks
Yeah,
listening in.
yeah.
We have 6
So-
marks.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but not-
so,
not
any of you want to be Newton today?
Oh,
Anyone wanna be a
that are
Fig
listening
Newton?
in.
I
6
love Fig
marks that are
Newton.
listening.
Yeah.
Got it. You know,
Steve,
yeah,
why
but
don't you just show us your beautiful, since Mark isn't here, show us the beautiful place that you're at. Are you still on vacation?
Of course, I'm still on vacation. What kind of a question is that?
How long, how many months does it last? How many
Until
months?
next
September?
and
April.
wait, really quick. Jeff just asked about
Which is-
is it Mark Newton or Mark Chandler? Mark Chandler is he also
Yeah, he's
Mark Chandler is a contributor here on Trader Summit, but also Mark Newton is too. So Mark Newton, well, actually, you can
Chandler
search.
with a C, and oh wow, you're using
Mark.
Nick Santiago too. Yeah, Nick's good. Yeah, Gareth Soloway.
So Mark Newton also, you can read his. This is Mark, and he's been on here. He's been. How many times have you interviewed Mark Newton? My God, Dale, at least a dozen times it seems
Like
like
4
over the
years. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would say a lot of times, but
Yeah.
he's a great technician. I've been following him on Twitter, and we've communicated on Twitter probably the last 7 or 8 years, I would say. And he's really good at what he does. So anyway, but yeah, it's a weird because he's never been not here. So that's the weirdest thing.
Well, you know, I'll try and see if I could get him to show up tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Hey, so Steve's here from Steve. You're reporting in from
Corfu Island.
Corfu.
Yeah, Kerkira is the Greek name. To be honest, I should probably Google this. I have no idea how the name Corfu came to be. But for some reason, foreigners know it as Corfu. You know, the Eptansa, the islands between the mainland of Greece and Italy, have passed through Italy occupancy for many years, and then France, then UK for some years before being returned back to Greece. So they're very nice. They have influences from more than one cultures, other than the obvious Greek one. I strongly suggest people visit them. Although I have to say that my favorite one is Kefalonia. If you see, it's a little bit southern from Kerkyra, Blake, on the same side but a little bit southern. Yeah, if you zoom in, yeah, there you go. That's Kefalonia.
Right there.
No, that's the sea. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, I wasn't sure. Sometimes these islands are so small. It's
No. Kefalonia is not a small island.
Oh, okay.
You can see it over there on the south side of your screen.
Got it.
Yeah. So yeah, they're very beautiful and very warm seas and rather green islands, because the opposite from Kyklades, which don't have much green. Heptanissa do have a lot of green. Very beautiful islands. Yeah,
Corfu is one of those places that every time the two times I've spent my times in Greece, my wife was like, we've got to get to Corfu, because we're always in the Cyclades, where I think that's where most of you guys are always visiting, right? Because there's Athens and you guys are all always down here.
Yeah, some of the Cyclades islands are very nice, and we have plenty of them to go around. Naxos, for example, I prefer it. Santorini, as you very well know, Blake, is very different to anything else, because it used to have a volcano. I mean, it still has a volcano, but it's an inactive one, right? So exactly. So the scenery is completely different than anything else you're going to find. But I think that you want to visit. I think Heptanissa with Corfu, Zakynthos, Kefalonia being the main three ones. Rhodes, which is on the other side of the map. And Crete are probably the places you want to be. Crete is huge, on the south, as you see on the bottom right of your screen. It's all that huge island
right
there. Yeah. So it's huge. I mean, Crete has a lot of things you can see and a lot of different scenery. Mountains, seaside on the south side, which is towards Africa. So totally different type of sea. The north side which is overlooking the Aegean. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, these are places you want to go. Beautiful islands.
Well, we've heard a lot about Greece, Steve, and just since it's on the screen right now, I have to point out my favorite city in Greece is really Nafplion right here.
Nafplion is beautiful.
It's one of my favorite cities. That's inland. But anyway, let's shift the conversation to, what are you seeing? Italy. Are you seeing anything out there? I mean, stocks are obviously down today. We've seen this big move.
Listen, I'm monitoring the same ascending wedge you are, right? And I think it's very, very, very important, because it's not just us that monitor the S&P. I mean, the S&P is the global barometer for risk. That's what I've been saying during the past 2 days. I've been saying that, listen, this trend line support is super important, because it's actually like the most obvious area under which you start having some bearish technical events taking place, right? Until that happened, I mean, what is it, like a 2-3% sell-off? I mean, these things happen, right? Yeah. So in my opinion, now that we're probing the area below it, today is going to be a key day. Can the bulls push the market to close above it? I think that's going to show us that they're still, pretty well in charge of the whole situation. But do we end up breaking down? I think we then open the door for a more proper corrective move, which, fundamentally speaking, is aligned with the market starting getting right and left jitters that we're getting closer to tapering. Now, I've explained before why I think that the whole taper tantrum, the new one, the upcoming one, is going to prove to be a flop, simply because the situation is still, and the monetary policy is still extremely easy. Considering that now inflation is rampant. I mean, we have inflation surpassing 6% as we speak. So taking that into consideration, monetary policy is more easy than it has ever been, even if we reduce the pace by which even if we reduce the pace by which we buy bonds, right? Because don't forget, we're not even considering hiking rates as we speak, right? We're not even considering tightening the balance sheet, which has exploded from 3.7, 3.8 trillion dollars, which is the point at which we got after the short-term tapering, to more than 8 trillion as we speak. So we're not considering tightening, we're not considering hiking, we're considering slowing the pace of monetizing the debt. So we're not in essence we're not in essence pushing on the brake, we're considering stepping a little bit off the easing of the gas after having accelerated to 200 miles per hour. But in any case, the market doesn't like it. And I understand why, right? Because monetary policy and easy monetary policy and fiscal expansion and all that are things that are like drugs. The more you take, the more you need to stay high. So so I do think that this is the fundamental backdrop for the market to finally show some jitters. We had seen already in advance, I think you mentioned it before, Blake, some divergences. You know, the main divergence I was monitoring, Blake, and I mentioned it the day before yesterday, it was the one with the Aussie yen, the Kiwi yen. I mean, these sensitive, risk-sensitive FX pairs, they had turned lower much earlier.
I was short Friday, Thursday, Friday. So, I mean, and I closed mine up. I closed my Aussie yen short Monday down here as we were approaching the support. I mean, but they continue to break lower. I mean, so this move alone, just us breaking lows that we haven't seen since, I mean, these are new 2021 lows. You know, this alone, if you're relying just on a correlation, I mean, this move right here suggests that we are going to eventually break down today. But you know,
yeah. So personally, although I completely feel your worry. We've seen, I mean, we are in such a messed up environment that even when you get, I mean, we've created a financial environment which was never the case in the past, right? And up until like a few years ago, and it became even worse since COVID. That even if they told you, if somebody came today and told you, listen, tomorrow there's going to be like a nuclear bomb falling somewhere, you're not going to be 100% there's going to be a sell-off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we've created such a distorted environment that things that would be a no-brainer sell tomorrow, you know, you're not 100% sure anymore. You're like, yeah, okay, you know, that should be very, very bearish, but you know, who knows? There might be a bullish spin in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. But anyway, Steve, the thing is I think what people really have to understand here is we are in a toxic environment. Be careful getting too carried away. It is summer, and the fact of the matter is, being in the summer, there's not a lot of participants. We've sold off pretty aggressively.
Yeah, which can prove to be a double-edged sword.
It can be. We could get the market whipping up, whipping right back after this prolonged sell-off over the last couple of days. We could see this massive bounce back in assets like, crude and copper, and the dollar could pull back, and we could all just chalk it up to it's summer. And I'm looking at the dollar, like, for example, I'm looking at the dollar MEX. I was long overnight. I already pulled it off the table. You mean you're already seeing like this false breakout? We came back to the range high as expected, and now the dollar Mexican peso is starting to roll over. And we're breaking some intraday. I say intraday. These are intraday ascending trend lines. We're breaking them. So now you're like, well, shoot, if I'm starting to see the peso start to rally here, and and it's starting to recover, what does that tell me about the S&P? Well, the S&P probably might squeeze back up towards the highs, and then everybody gets caught short and yada yada yada. So I mean, that's why today you have to be very, very careful. I think today is not a day where you let your guard down. It's not a day where you frivolously just start trading because you're like, oh, I got this gut feeling. No, I think today is a day where you actually are looking to,
The signal was recognizing the hanging man on Monday, I believe.
You know what, Dale? I agree with you because we had hanging mans all over the place, but I can also count on my fingers and toes how many hanging man failed over the last year. So I mean,
it's what I said before. This market has changed. I mean, very, very powerful reversal formations that worked frequently in the past.
Yeah,
we keep ignoring them in whatever it has to do with risk assets, right? I mean, we create one of them and then next day it's like nothing happened so frequently.
Yeah, here's your hanging man. There's your hanging man. Here's another one. There's a good one over here that here's a hanging man. It's like, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've I have literally, and I could just go on and on and on over the last couple of years said, oh, there's a hanging man. And it's always the same thing for me. There's a hanging man. I definitely don't want to be bullish, but usually I'd be shorting, but I don't know, but it did, it aggressively moved. And I think you combine that hanging man with being at the top of the wedge and being divergent. I mean, you combine a bunch of things and eventually it's going to weigh on the market. But now that we're here.
Well, on the other hand, Blake, this reminds me a little bit of the cry wolf myth, the story, that, the kid cries, wolf for fun, villagers come to help, there's no wolf. Again at some point, they stop responding to the call, and when the wolf actually comes, nobody believes him. You know what I mean? So at some point, we're going to be getting the beginning of like a massive sell-off, and everybody's now numb. Like, we've seen daily reversals before, and they yield nothing.
Oh, yeah. I can guarantee you this, and Dale knows exactly what I'm saying. We will be in a market probably sometime in the nearer future that we're gonna be looking at the market saying, oh my God, this market never rallies.
Yeah, for sure.
Dale, do you remember those markets? They happen.
Yeah, sure they do.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be in markets where we're gonna go, oh my God, this market is never gonna rally again. And just like we're in a market right now where you're like, it never sells off. And so and we'll probably be in extreme. I was thinking about that yesterday as I was driving to my wife had some stuff to do at the office, so at her office, and I went to go pick up my kids from school, and I was sitting there going, man, this market is trading heavy, but I'm like, but remember, we're in a bullish market. That the market
also rationalize 5 to 10% sell off as being normal, and they're going to buy into these dips. Okay.
Oh yeah,
bull
they're going to buy right. They're going to buy in those dips until it doesn't work anymore, right?
Yeah, until we're 30-40% lower.
And then they go, holy crap!
Maybe I should get out, and that'll be the
right.
bottom.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So hopefully you get a hold of Mark Newton, and
I'll try.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll pop it. I'm sure he's probably like, oh my God, I forgot this. And then, I'll see you tomorrow, and hopefully we can bring him back in tomorrow.
Okay. I'll give
Steve, we'll see you in about 30 minutes on the morning edge.
Yes, you'll see me in 25 minutes.
Yeah. And hey guys, just really quick, I want to mention, I actually got my very first, reimbursement check, my cashback rebate check from Forest Park, and
sweet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, and
Yeah.
somebody mentioned, oh, Blake, you got actually a real check. I said I think it's because I live in the US, but yeah, if you're trading and you're not getting a cashback rebate, do it. Now, I couldn't trade my personal account for the last 5 years. I was trading for Gelos and another sister company of Gelos for the last 5 years, and that's what I was doing. So I couldn't trade my own, we call it a PA or personal account. I wasn't allowed to. So, after, I stopped trading for them, over the last few months, and I'm like, shoot, I get to trade my own account again. I went to, the guys at Forest Park. I'm like, hey, I want this cashback rebate thing. And now I got a check. I got a check in the mail this last week. It's pretty cool. So if you guys aren't doing that, make sure everybody should be. And if you're not, then contact them. It's right here. Steve's been doing it for years. And I'm like, how cool
Yeah,
is that?
I'm actually receiving it in my PayPal account.
Yeah, and that's, I'm assuming because you're European, but because I'm in the US, I actually get a check. I almost threw it away. It's because I get so much junk mail, I almost threw it away. Anyway, you can contact them right here. You can contact them live on Skype or email brokers at Forex Analytics. The guys at Forest Park, their team, guys and gals actually, they address that email. So you can contact them directly. So make sure you do that. All right. All right.
Okay, I just got hold of Mark. Will be with us tomorrow.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
That's good.
Okay. That's good.
All right.
That is good. So, guys, sorry about that today.
Stay tuned for tomorrow.
I'm not only a great host, I'm a pretty good booker.
Yeah, and
booking interviews now. Sometimes it's not so. Can you imagine trying to do 4 or 5 of those a week?
Yeah, I mean,
Getting people. Huh?
It's one of these
marathon.
things. It's one of these things that's very, very easy to do if you haven't done it. If you haven't done, you know what I mean. People think it's easy, like you send a mail or you get somebody on the phone, and it's like 10 seconds. But once you try doing it, you realize that there are complexities that people that haven't done it can't figure out.
Yeah, what's your audience? How many?
Exactly.
Anyway, he'll be here tomorrow.
Great.
Perfect.
All right.
All right,
guys, thank you so much. Dale, thank you so much. Stelios, Steve, good to hear your voices as always.
Hey, congratulations on having a good month yesterday.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, yesterday, last night's trades were.
I could tell by your voice you had a good month yesterday.
Yeah, I did. It was. I did. It's good to have. It's the trading's been good, surprisingly good this month. If you look at just go to the patterns in play and just see kind of some of the trades that have been happening over the last few weeks. It's been good in this environment for the summer. So
for August,
for August. So there's been a lot of patterns developing. That's what a pattern in play is. But the opportunities that we've seen in currencies this month have been great, and it's been very readable, which I'm excited for this fall. I think volatility in the currency market's going to really pick up.
Yeah, pray to the Greek gods that.
Interest rate decisions are shifting, and when interest rate expectations shift, whether we're all at zero or not, volatility is going to rise, and so that's a good thing for currency.
Let's hope this is the beginning of something and not just another
tease.
Yeah, another tease. Yeah,
another MT market tease.
Will lead to another 2 months of boring.
I don't think so.
All right, guys, I got to go wish my newly minted 17-year-old happy birthday. You guys have a great day.
Happy birthday.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. See you guys. And remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Minutes. Join us tomorrow to wrap the week with Mark Newton. See you guys. Thanks.